Let me narrate a small story. What happened 5 years ago when my grandson was 5. He was very worried, very scared of ants, dogs, and cows. That is what we see on the street. And cows and dogs, he would run away. But if he found an ant, he would stamp on it, kill it. My daughter and I kept telling him it is no use killing innocent insects or animals, hurting animals. What harm have they done to you? He was worried that the ant would bite him. So one afternoon, after lunch, we were going around. So I took him to the gate. I found some ants there. I allowed the ant to climb my hand and it started crawling around my body, my palm. It was not biting me, it was not hurting me, it was fun. He was for good 10-15 minutes totally absorbed, not distracted with anything, because it is intimate, it is immediate, he can see it, he can watch and he can feel it. Then he slowly asked, can I also do that? Can I allow this big ant climb my hand, my finger? I said, try it, don't be scared. So he saw that the ant was not biting him. He brought the ant inside home. He got some sugar, he bought a crumb of chocolate. He said, let me eat this ant. This is my personal ant now. After that, his care for the ant has gone. He was no more scared of dogs. Weekends, he wanted to go to the dog park so that he can run around with 100 plus dogs there. He was not scared of cows anymore. So this transformation, how much soever we tell, don't be scared. Not going to work. They'll be more scared maybe. Or they will become more defensive, find reasons why one should be scared of that. He will quote 100 people who are scared of ants. But unless we experience in person, unless that scare is removed once, practically that scare is not going to go out. The ones we involve with personal, intimate, authentic and current situation, this is another dialogue which my grandson says, I am bored. Not only for him, we see people at all ages being bored. You can see by the expression, see the yawnings, see the need to be distracted from this boredom, instant gratification. So this is how the things work on. So we'll start with a small prayer.
Vagarthaviva samprukta Vagartha pratipattaye Jagatah pitarau vande Parvati parameshwarau Vande Parvati Parameshwara.
This is the first stanza of the prayer of Kalidasa's great work, Raghuvamsham, where he salutes Shiva and Parvati, the parents of the world, who are united, inseparable, like the word and its meaning. Vag, Artha. Vak and Artha. So we start with this idea of the meaning for every word that we speak, the form and function, the structure and behavior, everything together. As we go through, we may come back, if time permits, to the meaning of this and to elaborate in the context of classroom. However, let us hold this dear to the heart, tell that Vak, Artha, we are here to bring meaning to every word that we speak, every act that we do, let them be meaningful. So starting with today's topic, let us see the context as of now. Are we efficient, more efficient than what we were earlier? Yes, obviously. The task which took us the whole day to complete, we are able to do in minutes. The food that we need gets delivered at home. With one call, we can get any service. Yes, it is more efficient. But is it a distraction? Overuse of these facilities, the ultra-processed services, ultra-processed food, Ultra fast thinking? Is it distracting us? Is it becoming an addiction? Let us look at the case 31st July. A railway collector at Yadgir railway station in Karnataka. The queue was building up to buy tickets, but he was busy on the phone for 15 minutes. He kept telling to the passengers, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. The typical thing, even the children, if you call them for lunch, if you call them for homework, if you call them for any discussion, 1 minute, because they're busy with the phone, busy with the TV, busy with something which is an addiction now. As of now, as you go, you may travel by metro, by a bus, dining table, living room. More importantly, when you're driving a two-wheeler, people can't drive a two-wheeler without mobile phone on their ears. They don't see what is happening on the left or right or behind or ahead. They can't hear the honks. Crowd building up, they are distracted. When they are distracted, when they are addicted, what happens to the remaining travelers behind them, ahead of them? When did we last see somebody reading a book in public place? Maybe waiting in the queue, maybe in the train travel. We seldom see that. And if you see someone reading a book in public place, we should celebrate that. I also have an experience where a student was busy with his phone in the class. I asked him why. He said, I'm busy in trading. He's in the stock market. The class is going on some other subject, but he's making money there. Addicted. Toddlers, grown-ups, you and me. It is not limited to Generation Z. We have created this context for the Generation Z, and they are consuming it. And this leads, again, multitasking. We're all busy with multitasking. We can't be mindful on anything. Maybe studies, maybe reading, maybe traveling, or maybe eating. Whatever we do, something else is in our mind. So we are the typical that man in hurry, slow and steady. You may win the race, but who wants the race? Mindful, what is it? We don't know about that. And we want to outsource even thinking. Ultra processed solutions and ultra short attention span. This is the context. We consume contents like fast food, tasty, quick, and often indigestible. So let us consider if this happens in general for all of us, not only for the young generation, but why we talk about Gen Z is that they are the people who sit in the classroom. They are our future. What can we do to improve that? How can we reach out to them? How can we address this issue? Little by little, it is not going to be overnight. It is not going to be short span. It is going to be a journey, a long journey, meaningful. A lot of anxiety and stress is built up. Let us understand that aspect also about the context. There is an old song, Will I Be Rich? Will I Be Beautiful? Let us go back, Shefali, who made news for good or bad reasons. I won't call anything bad. Pardon me saying that. Like a flower burning itself for external validation. Curated life, tracked, measured, and compared continuously. As reported in the news and verified by doctors, she was under anti-aging medication, self-medication most often, including injections. And then what followed? So is it worth for 8 to 10 years a young person who is in the public space, social media, so much worried about looking young rather than being young at heart, doing something meaningful, deriving joy out of what one does. Other anxiety and stress apart from this comparison, continuous competition, perceived competition, job opportunities, layoffs, trade deals, political turmoil, wars, Trump's imposition, or the trade deals, whatever we call it, they all worry us. And if they worry us, they also worry our students, a great number of them. When I talk to young people in the final years of their engineering or the graduation, whatever it is, one of the things on the top of their mind is that how will I get a job? What job will I get? More than anything else, how much will I get? Not then what job I will do, how much will I make? LPA, lakhs per annum. Okay, there's a new term now. When I was young, four-figure salary was a big thing. If you earn more than 999 per month, it is a big thing. Now it's only how many lakhs per month. Fine, that is fine. It is a context which we cannot change, but in this context, what can we do? Lifestyle, its effect on health, stress, anxiety. So our students sit with this burden on their head, in their mind. One more issue is that celebrities replace mentors. It is a one-sided bond that feel real. Shah Rukh Khan is Pan Parag, why shouldn't I? Sachin Tendulkar says that drinking boost will boost your intelligence. You'll stand first in the class or you'll score very high if you drink boost. Bharat Ratna Sachin Tendulkar. They're all celebrities. They are demigods or full gods. People are willing to die for them. So unless we replace this with a proper mentor who cares for you, who knows you, who is close to you, it won't help much. So this is the context in which we all live. And more so the young minds, bright minds are affected by that. Let me narrate a small story. What happened 5 years ago when my grandson was 5. He was very worried, very scared of ants, dogs, and cows. That is what we see on the street. And cows and dogs, he would run away. But if he found an ant, he would stamp on it, kill it. My daughter and I kept telling him it is no use killing innocent insects or animals, hurting animals. What harm have they done to you? He was worried that the ant would bite him. And he just couldn't avoid killing an ant if he found one. So one afternoon, after lunch, we were going around. So I took him to the gate. I found some ants there. I allowed the ant to climb my hand, and it started crawling around my body, my palm. It was not biting me. It was not hurting me. It was fun. He was for good 10, 15 minutes, totally absorbed, not distracted with anything, because it is intimate, it is immediate. He can see it, he can watch, and he can feel it. Then he slowly asked, can I also do that? Can I allow this big ant climb my hand, my finger? I said, try it. Don't be scared. So he saw that the ant was not biting him. He brought the ant inside home. He got some sugar. He bought a crumb of chocolate. He said, let me eat this ant. This is my personal ant now. After that, his care for the ant has gone. He was no more scared of dogs. Weekends, he wanted to go to the dog park so that he can run around with 100 plus dogs there. He was not scared of cows anymore. So this transformation, how much soever we tell, don't be scared, not going to work. They'll be more scared maybe, or they will become more defensive, find reasons why one should be scared of that. He will quote 100 people who are scared of ants. But unless we experience in person, unless that scare is removed once, practically that scare is not going to go out. The ones we involve with personal, intimate, authentic, and current situation, this is another dialogue which my grandson says, I am bored. Not only for him, we see people at all ages being bored. You can see by the expression, see the yawnings, see the need to be distracted from this boredom, instant gratification. So this is how the things work on. And ant has got another full form, automatic negative thought. I think David of Harvard Medical School started this term long back, 50 years ago or so, automatic negative thoughts. So these thoughts, the scare, some of the boredom, some of the addictions, they're all caused because of automatic negative thought. The negative thought is that the ant will bite me, not experience. An ant never bit him, but that negative thought is there. This subject is difficult. I can't pass this examination. I will miss the train. We carry these negative thoughts for whole of waking hours and part of sleeping hours in our dreams. So if you do not face it directly, if you don't hold the bull by horn, it will keep going at us. So let us be convinced that ant is normal, automatic negative thoughts. We have to minimize it. We have to encourage our students, tell that, okay, this is your negative thought, not reality. You can do that, you can change. And we have to see the patterns. We have to see the multi-perspective aspect of it. Now you see, when you achieve a pattern like, scared of ant, it has been cured. Now it has cured the scare of two other animals, the cows and the dogs. There are many positive side effects whenever you achieve a small victory, very, very small victory. So this is a story that I have told you, a small story, which is real and intimate. And stories not just for communication, but for thinking itself. We think in terms of story, may it be fiction, may it be real life story, whatever it is a thought process. Writing is a thought process. Storytelling is a thought process. So as teachers, teachers means every parent is a teacher. And the students also can be teachers also. They can help their peers, they can help their friends. So in that moment, they are teachers. And there is no better way of learning than teachers. So those of you, by chance, if you are students, whatever we discuss applies to the students as well. It is not just for the teachers. So what can we do? Again, getting back to the shloka that we narrated, it is a simile that was used by Kalidasa, Upama Kalidasasya, is the king of similes. So when you compare one with another, one behavior, one feature with another feature, that becomes a simile. So by using similes, understanding becomes easier. While studying, while teaching, let us see how we can use the similes. Analogies is a little bigger than similes. It will compare multiple features, not just one feature. Simile compares one feature, analogy compares multiple features, and the stories. So how to build these stories? You have to just look around. You don't have to read 100 books. The simple way of doing it is that there are many critical incidents that happen in our life, in the classroom and outside, at home and the shopping mall. So if you note down the critical incidents for our own reference, then from these critical incidents, we discover teaching points of view. TPV, teaching point of view. There is one teaching point of view, at least, in every critical incident that we see. And if you are able to convert that, build a simile, analogy, story out of that teaching point of view, they all club together, they grow. Organically, they grow. And we have to relate the stories based on the time, space, where we are, the cultural context. For example, maybe about 15 years ago, I went to Sri Vivekananda Youth Movement's tribal school for the teacher training in a place called Hosahalli, about 60 kilometers from Mysore. There I told in the class that Rama committed suicide by jumping into Sarayu River. I was sort of boycotted. All the students were so angry with me, telling, how dare you say Sri Rama committed suicide? But that is from the story. I was telling them a story, but they were not able to take that story. It is so cruel to them, being so unkind. So if you're not sure about the cultures and the subcultures, then again, the teaching tools won't work. If I say, okay, it worked in the primary school, why doesn't it work for postgraduates? Or it worked there, why didn't it work here? There are so many subcultures. Even if you go to the same university, different schools in the university have got different culture. Different courses within that school have got different cultures. Different classes, the course of 2024, 2025, they got their own subcultures. So if you're able to observe the subcultures, that will help us to teach better, how to match, avoid friction, avoid collision. Another point, data speaks. I've been working on data for more than 2 decades. So when you consider the data, in the class, we need data. Name the subject. So in this context, what I have been doing for quite some time now, more than a dozen years, I use the student-supplied dirty data instead of curated, clean data from the textbooks or from the websites. And these are applicable, these are useful from kindergarten to the post-graduation classes. For example, let us consider we are taking some categorical and some numeric data of the students, their name, state, district, mother tongue, then whatever else we can with context. Then we can take numeric data which could be discrete or continuous, date of birth, height, weight, chest, waist, neck size, whatever. You can collect lot many data. For example, in Pennsylvania State University has got a collection of data, of course, not created by them, called ANSUR, anthropic data, body measures of 6,000 plus army soldiers of the US, about 4,000 men and 2,000 women. Now, this data is used for many researchers. There are 95 numeric data and 15 demographic data. If you compare that, for example, those who intend doing, we will be able to create our own data set as per our context, as per our culture, which will be useful in teaching. Where all can we use it? Say, for example, you're talking about numbers, basic arithmetic taught in class 1. If you want to add numbers, you say, okay, what is your weight? What is your friend's weight? What is the total? What is the difference? What is the ratio? And these students, when they say, okay, their data, their personal data is not being compared, it is not bananas in the shop which you never bought, or it is not about, some imaginary figure. This is real. And when you talk about the height, all that we can do is, apart from telling, okay, this is the height of that person, take a tape to the classroom. Okay, let us see here. There's a tape here. So you take a tape and say, okay, taking this tape, measure the height yourself, your friend, whatever. So there is another play that comes in. The students are no more sitting straight on their desk. They're made to move around. They're able to apply. They're distracted from their distraction because there is some activity involved. The same data, if you go carry forward, I've used this kind of data while teaching machine learning and artificial intelligence, classification, regression, correlation. So there is no limit to this kind of data where all it can be used. Or say while programming, converting all character to uppercase, title case, lowercase, for example, the silliest thing that we start with while programming. Now, if my name is shown in all uppercase, I get interested. Dow Jones, I do not know who is Dow Jones. Donald Trump doesn't matter to me. So, but if it is my name, I wake up. I sit straight. Oh, now let me see. Let me say the double metaphor. Phonetics. Oh, how does my name sound? I want to see that. Is Gayatri and Gayatri same as per the phonetics, or is it different? If it is different in phonetics, is it different in some other fuzzy matching? So these kind of things can grow from the absolute beginning, absolute basics, up to fairly intermediate level of discussion. We have a good opportunity to use that data. Again, what happens when the students give their own data, we are able to tell them, look, the units you have given is incorrect. We wanted the height in centimeters. You are given in feet and inches. We wanted the weight in kilograms. Are you sure it is kilograms? Are you sure there is no difference? Have you used non-standard data? On and on. Have you given unnecessary space? Have you converted something to uppercase or lowercase? Otherwise, etc., etc. Hundreds of things. They will make mistakes. So awareness of the data quality and data completeness, especially in the today's world, when it depends so much on data, ChatGPT or the class of LLMs that we use, the agents that we use, require correct data. If in our mind we have got some data, but if it is interpreted differently, we'll get a wrong advice. And we take those advices blindly, unfortunately. Now let us consider a little more about the data usage example. For example, say ratio. My grandson learned about ratio the other day in the class, and he was applying the ratio to the height, his own height, my daughter's height, etc., etc. Very nice. Now, if extend it further, the data that we have gathered for the class, waist to height ratio indicates the health, BMI calculations, how they compare with each other, something to the biology classes, arithmetic, health metrics, regression, clustering, decision trees, whatever area we want to explore, we can inspect. Can I use the data which is intimate to the students? They know it in and out, and they will sit up, listen to the name of the student or his or her friends. Let me take a deep breath for a break. Break in the sense we are not breaking from the thing, we are changing the topic. So one thing we talked about is the data. After the data, after the stories, similes, analogies, there are some props that we can use very, very regularly in the class. I carry a bag. One thing which I always have in the bag is a whistle. A whistle, we can create drama, we can enact so many activities in the class. You select 3, 5, 10, whatever number of students you want. So there is a judge, give him the whistle. There is a person who will take measurements, maybe take a tailor's tape. There may be playing cards. There may be water bottle, a mechanical spring, marbles, dice, name tags, ribbons, price tags, an abacus, colored threads, some gadget that you would generally find in somewhere or other. Say there is a thermostat. You think of it, or an hourglass. If you look around, you will find a lot of things which will teach us a teaching point of view. So games that we can create out of these gadgets, sorting, make the student stand tallest to the left, the shortest to the right, filtering, all the girls, all the boys, those above, say, depending on the class, above some height, below some height, within this range, serialization, pickling, a lot of things we can do. For example, let me narrate only one. Say you call 3 students, 4 students, one with the whistle, other with the measuring tape, simple measuring tape, the tailor's measuring tape. This costs 20 rupees. Now, one student who is a tailor student, he takes the measurement for a shirt. Another student keeps noting down. And the typical experience, having gone to the tailor, if any, knows what all measurements that you have to take, the shoulder, arm length, the chest, waist, whatever else, the length of the shirt, all, 10 odd measurements are taken by the students. This is what happens. Then I ask the student, okay, how much will you charge for stitching the shirt? Okay, 250 rupees, 500 rupees, whatever it is. Okay, that much is charged. Then I ask, okay, when you go to the shop, a store to buy a shirt, does the shopkeeper take all these measurements before he gives the shirt? No. He asks, what is the size of the shirt? Where is the size of shirt? Where? What is the meaning of, say, my shirt size is mentioning 40. 40 what? Centimeters, inches? If so, measure of what? Ultimately, very, very few people know it is a measure of the neck. And when they discover it, it is a beautiful thing. I've seen students clapping with joy. Oh, I have discovered something new, something good. And that one measure of the neck size is enough to correlate with other parts of the body. So this again brings to another beautiful aspect of patterns in nature. The body parts, the way the leaves are formed, the cones are formed. Series of things. This can open up discussion in various subjects that we teach or we study. For example, golden ratio. Golden ratio is A plus B by A equals A by B. The ratio is 1.6 approximately. You can make it, accurate 1.618, whatever it is. And if you look around, where do you have this golden ratio? All over the usage by a human being that we design, and also in nature. For example, if you look at this card, you can go and measure later when you find time. It is 1:1.57, close to golden ratio. So you find so many golden ratios in the world, not one or two places, and it is a joy to discover such things. And we're distracted from our eternal boredom, distraction. Make it a play. The learning is curiosity should build. We can say, okay, sometimes what we can do is that using of tools instead of brute forces in the process of learning, using correct tools, correct methods. You call 2 students, one athletic, strong boy, another weak little girl. Say, okay, you have to run a race from one end of the class to another end of the class. Guess who will win? Yeah, all will say, okay, this boy will win. But say you have to run with one leg. The girl will run with both the legs. That is the difference between using brute force against using a tool. So we have to use, for example, one beautiful technique to remember what we study is recall. There's a technique called Pomodoro, which requires us to stop studying a subject after every 25, 30, 40 minutes. The timing is up to us, depending upon the age and the stage in which we are as a student. We are required to recall in our memory, not reading something, not looking at the notes. What do I remember out of what we have done? This is extremely effective. After teaching or after discussing, after learning together with the students, ask them to recall, remember what they have done, preferably write it down. If they can share with you, beautiful. This is far better than reading the textbook 10 times. And what we are doing at home, especially, is that have you read the book? Read again, read your text. It is not useful. Reading over and again is counterproductive. Changing topic. As a teacher, we should expose our vulnerabilities. We should not create a big power distance with the students. There's a term called PDI, power distance indicator or index. Like when you go to the doctor, some doctors say, if you ask them some doubts, if you ask them some explanation, who is the doctor? You or me? This arrogance, without intellectual humility, intellectual integrity, is hurting learning if ever you use that. We don't see it much these days, probably. But the teachers have to go with humility. Students are smarter than us. They're more knowledgeable. They're more purposeful. But you have to shape their purpose, kindle their interest, nudge them to activities which will help them. I'm a tech idiot. I do not know much. I take help of my grandson, who is my tutor in the use of gadgets. What he solves, what he finds out in 1 minute, I go to the user manual, I go to Google, I go to the internet, I go to whatever else it is. But these children, they get it intuitively. So let us depend on the students to solve our problem. Let us fail in the class in front of them. So purposeful structure enables learning. Empty authoritarianism of being authority figure, I'm the teacher, who are you? Won't work. And one more great saying is that there are many ways of conveying the same truth. It is not one. Ekam sat vipra baudha vadanti. Truth is one. The wise speak of it in many ways. So we have to change the tune, change the tone, change the subject, change the way we tell based on the context. We talked about the culture aspect. And we have to be ourselves. Just because somebody else succeeds in telling a story, succeeds talking like, Shashi Tharoor. I'm not Shashi Tharoor. I can't talk like him. So I have to be myself. You have to be yourself. Live your story. Let me tell small little things in the remaining time that I have. Power of word. Telling the story, telling it in multiple way, multi-perspective way. Words don't live in dictionary. They live in our mind. We live the words. This is what Shashi Tharoor says in one of his great talks. So if the words are just in the dictionary, we don't sense the meaning of it, the depth of meaning of it, it won't work.